Happy Sunday night and welcome to the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys so much for finding us here. If you haven't been with us already, please subscribe to this channel. It's parkadventuresclub.com for lots of great content. We're here on a Sunday night at 8:30 ready to talk parks. And you know what? We've gathered your favorites. They're here with us tonight. It's Shannon.
Happy Sunday Fun Day, everyone.
And Stephanie.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Ah, nice. Let's just make that your thing every time, even if it's not Halloween. It's going to really test well at Mardi Gras. Thank you guys for being with us. If you haven't already, give us a like. It helps people to find us. And you know what? This week we are going to start as we always do because we're running a meeting here. It's a club. I got, as they said in the chat, I got my gavel. Somebody said maybe he lost his gavel. No, I carry this with me everywhere. My wife's getting sick of it. It's just a thing. She's like, who do you think you are? I was like, I got a gavel. What are you talking about? But we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff tonight, and here's the agenda. We're going to be the reading of the minutes. That's our old news from the past week that we're going to talk about. Mickey's Not So Scary. That party started earlier this week. Oogie Boogie Bash, first one tonight. Halloween plastic roundup because we love our plastic. Food and wine menus have dropped, and the Beak and Barrel had quite a little bit of a bump the other day. And then we're going to talk new business, our predictions for Destination D23. So hold on for that. And a lot of people were upset that there was no parks panel, but we think there's still going to be stuff, and we'll tell you what we think is going to be there. But let's go to the beginning here and talk about Mickey's Not So Scary. It's happening. People are there tonight, as a matter of fact. That's the crazy part. And there's a lot of stuff going on with Mickey's Not So Scary. I've always said that this event should be longer, that you kind of like need to decide what thing you're going to do, which path you're going to take, choose your own adventure, because there's not time to do all of it. And as a matter of fact, this year, I'm actually thinking about taking a different path and doing characters because, good Lord, there are a bunch of characters available this year, including Mother Gothel, which I think is pretty exciting, and the fixed Jack. But I'm going to start with Stephanie on this one. You're a big Not So Scary fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go in a couple of weeks, and I'm super excited for that. Yes, it feels like it's still 1,000,000 degrees, and it doesn't really feel like fall yet. So they're going to have, like, the pumpkin spice lattes and what have you out, and it doesn't really feel quite October-ish yet. But having said that, I love that they have more offerings this year when it comes to characters. Cruella and Mother Gothel look like kind of Oogie Boogie Bash adjacent. They're up on sort of a platform, and they're sort of interacting with the guests as you walk by, it looks like. So I'm excited for that because that's really fun over at Oogie Boogie. And, I like to see new villains as they're testing them out for the villains lair. So that's going to be fun.
Yep. Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen me on this show for a while, or on YouTube for a while, you know that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is my favorite, despite Halloween being my least favorite holiday, probably. I love Christmas, but I feel like this party is superior to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, so I'm happy to see it's back. I was watching some live streams to see the parade. Thankfully, it looks like it's relatively untouched. So, I won't be going this year, but if you can go, I know it's always controversial. Is it worth the price? I've always said that it has, although I know it's getting, really tight in the recent years.
Well, you said you're not going this year, Shannon?
No, not this year.
Oh, boo to you. Stephanie, you're going to say something else. What?
I was just going to... I was going to say that it's worth the price. If you sleep in and you do a water park day or like a hotel pool day, and then you go at 4:00 because they allow entry with your ticket at 4:00, they will put you into a corral outside of the gates, and you'll have to stand there and as they let people in. But yes, I mean you get your full money's worth. I feel like if you get there early. If you get there later, you probably aren't.
Yeah. We talked about Mother Gothel, Mother Knows Best. Here's a shot that was taken of Mother Gothel at the I think she's at the entrance, which is weird because I thought maybe she should be over like the Encanto background might have worked out pretty well and have her back in that section there. But she's there to greet guests as you come into the park and you walk down and you get your trick or treat bag and your candy. There are a lot of neat things about this event that I like. I like the entertainment. I like the Sanderson Sisters show that they do. I like the fireworks that they do. They do. The character greetings again are insane, but the wait for Jack, the new Jack, apparently on the first night, and again, first night is the influencer's delight, but on the first night, apparently it was like 3.5 hour wait for Jack, and I'm like, I need to meet the new Jack and get my picture taken with him, but I do not need to waste 3.5 hours of a 5-hour party waiting in line to see Jack. And it's like you get to the end and you're like, there's Jack. Now what do we do? Oh, it's time to go home. Okay, that's...
Can I say something controversial?
I would hate to think you wouldn't.
I don't. Although I understand why people like the new character, the new mask, I didn't hate the other one, and I feel like it's a little less realistic now.
Interesting.
I changed my mind. You can't say anything controversial. You're not allowed to. No, I mean, there was like, again, I'm a huge fan. I love it when they bring your favorite characters to life in the parks. Why have they not brought Tron and Flynn? I feels like an easy grab. Why wouldn't they have done that? And so that's something where, he's a stick figure. And so how do you make that be real world? And so the thing that they did was so that he could talk. Okay, I get that. It's like this part was mask and this part was just his chin. And it always looked a little off to me, a little weird. Like I was like, oh, yeah. But the character that always sold it. And so that was what got me over the hump, is that it actually sold it. But in person, it's not awful, but in the pictures, I wasn't so much of a fan. But I'm glad that they've fixed it. I'm sorry that you don't like it. I don't know how to. I don't know how to fix that for you.
There's just not enough. When he's talking, there isn't enough movement that it just. Right. When you have Sally talking like a human, and then you see this like puppet mouth just opening and closing, that it bothers me. But anyway, we can move on.
Puppet. He's a skeleton. I don't know. Anyway, one thing before we do move on is I want to ask this to Stephanie, is that, for the attraction overlays for this event, they do the Mad Tea Party with a different lighting package, and they do they do the best for Space Mountain. They're like, let's just turn the light switch off. Okay, right. It's Halloween.
That's very scary.
Yeah. It's really not. Never mind. So then the other part is like, there used to be the Pirates of the Caribbean. They used to put the live actors in there. Stephanie, why do you think they stopped doing that? Because that seemed fun.
It was fun. It was fun. It's very easy. And then they would put the live actor in the ballroom scene in the Haunted Mansion as well. Mm-hmm. And, that was kind of cool, I guess. They don't say anything. But the Pirates, I felt like maybe it was taking away from the ride a little bit. Because you're listening. I know. But hot take, I guess. But you're listening to the music. You're listening to what, Red is saying and the auction scene and everything like that. And then you've got this actor that's sort of interjecting, and you're kind of like, sometimes the jokes don't land and you're like, do we laugh? Do we go, what do we do? So maybe it was that.
Well, I think that most of the people who are going to go to Mickey's Not So Scary have ridden that attraction a few times, I would assume. And so to the fact that it would give it some other take that would be special for that seems like an easy thing to do. I wish, I don't know. I wish that would be in there, but I guess I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They had some in the jail scenes. I liked them when they were in the queue. That was neat.
Gotcha. Let's move on to our next one. The Oogie Boogie Bash characters. Now, traditionally, Oogie Boogie started tonight, so I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback online tomorrow when you wake up and your Twitter feed will be blowing up about what people actually thought about these characters. But traditionally, it's been like really hype, the characters that they've added to Oogie Boogie Treat Trail. So there's a lot to Oogie Boogie Bash, and Stephanie, you and I have talked about, we've both been, kind of my favorite hard-ticketed event, but the characters have always been really cool. It's like adding Agatha Harkness to Avengers Campus. That was an awesome thing to do. When they added the zombie Captain America, that was cool. They had I'm trying to think. Oh, Sid, and Sid was amazing. Sid was so good, and they've replaced Sid with someone else, and it's Syndrome. And I feel like Syndrome used to be like a big plastic head character, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing that existed before? And they were like, you know what? We need to make this look weirder. How would we do that? Oh yeah, we'll do this. And I'm like, I don't like this. I mean, you were talking about the Jack, Shannon. I don't like this. And last year, Dr. Doofenshmirtz was added, and the internet and Shannon uproared and said, this does not make me feel well. So looking at this character, is it just me? Because Shannon, apparently you have the hot takes. I saw Dawn in chat calling you out, going, no, the new one's much better. Talk to me about this one. How do you feel about Syndrome?
First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of The Incredibles, so I didn't even know that was his name until I saw these articles. I knew the character, but I never knew his name. Anyway, like, I think that if the actor, the cast member, is strong enough, that it's going to be okay. Just like you said about Jack, like the actors, they really nail these roles. And you think about the success of Sid, you think about the success of Ernesto de la Cruz, like they nail it. And so, I mean, I don't think we can pass judgment here just yet.
Oh, we can. We totally can. Stephanie, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's weird. The padding is strange in the unitard. It's not even a unitard. It's like a leotard with tights. Like they could have made it a unitard, I guess. I don't know. But I agree with Shannon. I feel like if he sells it enough. But Maleficent, I mean, maybe chef's kiss, according to the video that that they showed. I mean, she's giving Angelica Houston. That's what I thought whenever I watched it.
Ooh.
Well, and they had at one point a Maleficent back in there, I thought, and I get what you're saying about Angelica Houston, totally. But they had a Maleficent back in that area at one point. So Maleficent's kind of a return to the treat trails here. She used to be over at Grizzly Peak. I don't know if that's still where she'll be. She was up on a pedestal with her. With her throne. I think that there were 12 treat trails, and in the past they've had Cruella, they've had the Mad Hatter, they've had I think Madame Mim might have been one at one point.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, they really come with some great choices, and like you were talking about, Shannon, Ernesto de la Cruz was one. But
he was great last year.
Sid was so good though. And I hate that, like, as soon as I saw that it was Syndrome, I was like, where are they going to put, I know exactly where they're going to put him. He's Pixar. They're going to replace Sid on Pixar Pier, and yeah, they have, so.
It just gets you, keep you coming back, because you have something new.
Yeah, well, again, the internet will tell us if it was okay or not. I feel like, I feel like they're going to tell us that it wasn't really okay. Staying on the topic of our staying on the topic of our Halloween is Halloween plastic, and I wanted to do a roundup because there's so much freaking plastic this year. Stephanie, Disney's trying to kill me or take all my money, or both. I don't really know what it is they're trying to do. They announced Stitch this week, and the Stitch, he's a cutie. Look at him. He's got Stitch as a mummy. There was a Stitch as a vampire that came out, I think it was last year, and I had somebody in California get it for me, and then he showed up at Disney World. That happens a lot anymore. But the roundup of how many, I decided, you know what this needs? This needs a graphic. That's what this needs. So I put them all together. Yeah, how about that?
Wow,
just take it in. Yeah, I mean the Pluto, the Mickey is really cute. The Mickey ghost, I like him a lot. The cone is just in California. The Cusco poison sipper was a magic key in California, and then the pirate mug I threw in there because it's plastic and I need it. I assume it's plastic. It may be something else, but. Stephanie, I don't remember. Do you or your kids collect any of this stuff? And is there any that you're like, I'm just going to get that one?
I mean, we're gonna have to get Stitch because my daughter, my 9-year-old, is like so into Stitch. She had a Stitch themed birthday party this year. So yeah, definitely Stitch. And I actually like the mummy better than the vampire. I don't know. Don't hate me, people. But I think he's really cute. And his head opens up and you get the popcorn out of his mouth. It also depends on where you're getting the popcorn from. I'm glad it's not the other end. But I really I really wish that Walt Disney World did like Disneyland does for their Magic Key. I mean, you can never get a freaking, Magic Key sipper or tumbler or whatever it is if you don't go the first night. It's so hard to find those things. But why doesn't Walt Disney World do that for annual APs, annual pass holders? I feel like that I would definitely want that Cusco sipper, and I don't usually buy the sippers. That's really cute. I like that.
Well,
That's
I
a
will
good
tell
one.
you that I did get a hookup, and that's coming my way. However, I was looking in chat, and I see that Sienna said she needs the Stitch, the Ghosty, which I guess is the Mickey, and then the Cusco Sipper. At Destination D23, which we're going to talk about, they're going to have at Typhoon Lagoon a Cuscotopia. After I've gone to the trouble to get this Magic Key thing, if that thing shows up,
Man,
if that thing shows up at that Cuscotopia party, I don't know if I will be happy or angry. So
you'll just
stay
buy me
tuned for
one.
that. Yeah, you got it. You got it. No problem. I will text you immediately, and we can see about that. Shannon, I know that you're no nonsense when it comes to your merch. So anything on there that you think is amazing looking?
No, I do. I like the sipper. I think the sipper is great. The other stuff, it just doesn't appeal to me. Except, you know what? If that pirate mug is ceramic, like a Trader Sam's mug, maybe. But you can keep the other stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, I will let you know if I get in there. I probably won't. We're going to talk about how much of a problem it's going to be to get into the Beak and Barrel in just a second here. But let's talk about our next topic, which is the food and wine menus have dropped. I know that's a big deal, right? Are you guys excited about this? I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah, you are. Are you going to go, Stephanie? Are you going to be down there for this?
First day, absolutely.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Let's do
Save
it.
some for the rest of us, please, if you don't mind. But I was looking through the menu, and there's a lot of stuff that's like returning that I'm excited about. This thing looks pretty good. There's also a lot of words, and Shannon, I'm going to throw this to you next because you're the bougie one in the family here. There's a lot of words that I can't pronounce. I was trying to read through these menus to my wife, and I was like, I don't. I really like. I mean, did you look through this menu and go, "Oh yes, this is exactly the kind of thing that I love"? Braised in this whatever sauce. I think they're making up words.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, listen, they're trying to be fancy with it because they need to be able to match the price tags, right? The only time you're paying that much money is when you can't pronounce things on the menu. But I'm excited to see that they try to fold in the new stuff with the classics. So you still have the cheddar cheese soup in Canada and then the filet in Canada, but then they're trying to bring some new things. Something that stuck out to me. This seems like an odd booth. I think this is the booth name, Gyozas of the Galaxy, and it's it's a dumpling stand. I'm not mad, but the French onion soup style dumplings are calling my name for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks good,
That's a
right?
stretch of a name, though.
I
Well,
think
it's because
isn't it in front of Guardians?
yeah, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what we're
Sure.
talking. That's the joke. It's the Guardians of
Sure.
the Galaxy. It's the
But they're not
Gyozas of the
even
Galaxy.
calling them gyozas. They're calling them dumplings.
Right.
Are you questioning Disney culinary? That's crazy. Why would you do that?
I would never do that.
Yeah. Stephanie, what about you?
Oh, I'm with Shannon. I like some of the traditional stuff, the lobster rolls over in American Adventure and that kind of thing. But, Mexico's always a solid pick, I feel like. But I also like how they're adding in, Hawaii and Australia and some of the different ones that you don't always see. But the three I'm most excited for, excuse me, it's the pathway between the gateway and imagination. There are three there, and forgive me, it's like mold and milled or something, and then there's three other names. but two other names. But I think that is your dinner right there. It's like salmon and Brussels sprouts, and thank you for giving more vegetable options too this year. And yeah, I mean, like, just stick to those three booths. I mean, you might be paying $30-40 a person once you get all the things, but I think that those look amazing too.
Yeah, the milled and mold, I think, is what you were talking about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that those look good. My wife was noticing it was a little steak heavy actually, or beef heavy this year, which normally, like, there's not a ton of chicken. It seems like there's the plant-based
Right.
stuff, and then there's actually a good selection of pork stuff when you're talking about the savory, and then you've got the which seems like a lot of beef, which I'm like, what is the problem? That's not a problem for me anyway.
But what
here's
is that shake?
Here's the milled and
Oh, that's a
mold.
Remy shake.
Whatever it is, I
Oh,
want it.
this one right here.
It's
Yeah,
cute.
this is so.
Yeah.
The reason I put that one on the card here is that one is actually from the what's the one at the land?
Sunshine Seasons.
Sunshine Seasons, yes. So that one's from Sunshine Seasons, and my wife always makes fun of these milkshakes that are like, okay, it's a milkshake, but it also has a cookie on top and a fresh
Yes.
strawberry and a thing of
That looks
cheese
so
and
good.
a chocolate Eiffel Tower. And she's like, why?
That
When
looks
is this
so
madness
cute.
going to stop? Like when they put a
No,
donut on
never.
top and all this other stuff. So
Perfection.
it says with a cookie, and I was like, the reason the cookie's there is so that it looks like a little picnic, and it's like Remy put together a
Yes.
picnic, and it's really cute. She's like, yeah, but how do you get, that's dumb. And so it's topped with a cookie, mini cheesecake, a white chocolate Eiffel Tower, and a strawberry.
Oh my
So
God, I
yeah,
Gotta get it. We
yeah,
have
can
it's
to.
eat it.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Do you guys, when you guys go to do this, any of these where they have the food booths, do you have a regular meal and then do food booths, or do you make the food booths your? No, you guys make the food booths your meal. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I
Just
would do that if I could just eat all of the sugary stuff. That would be great. I don't know. There's actually some really good stuff in here. The thing that I come back to every year is that bread and dips that they do in at the Tangerine Cafe over there in Morocco. I always it's the stone baked Moroccan bread, and I love. It's always warm, and you got these really good dips, and it's like I want one just for me. But look at this thing too. This pistachio cake with what looks like the top of the tables from inside there. I
love
don't know.
it.
It's really. Yeah, it's really cool. I love it. It's anyway. This starts on the 28th, and Stephanie will be there in person and live tweeting the entire thing. Can we expect that?
Sure, filling my gullet.
Cool. That's all we're asking for. All right. The final thing on the old news is the Beak and Barrel, which we've talked about last week. They came out with. We talked about the new menu and the drinks and that pirate mug, and that they came out with that they were going to start taking reservations. And everybody knew that the reservations were going to be available last week, except for the computer system. And the computer system said, "Nah." I'm good. And it crapped out on them. So there's some weird, and I probably should have pulled it up before. It says, it's some weird pirate speak. It says, "Ahoy, me hearties, those seeking the treasures of the Beak and Barrel." And I'm already mad. Like, if it were me and I'd gotten up at like 6 a.m. and it's like, I'm already mad. "Can begin charting their course when reservations launch on August 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern." 7 p.m. Eastern. When have they done that? It's usually like get up at 6 a.m., right? So the reservations will launch on August 20th, and this is new because before it just said next week of the 18th. And so this
Yes.
is like pretty breaking that this is the information here. August 20th at 7 p.m. Have you been looking into this, Stephanie? Are you ready to try to like battle royale to get your reservation?
It's not going to happen. I'm terrible about being able to get like the stupid, lightning lane things or whatever, the reservation systems with that thing. And so this is not going to happen for me. It's all and God bless the travel agents out there. Don't, hear my hate coming towards you. But I mean, it's you guys. It's you guys, because I don't know if you got like an Ethernet that goes straight into Disney's computer and you just pull all those reservations. So maybe I need to hire a good travel agent. I don't know.
Okay. Shannon?
Well, I actually nabbed Geo82 when those reservations dropped. However, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but there is something about this venue. Not that it doesn't excite me, but I just don't have a need to try to run and get a reservation right away. Like I kind of want to wait for it to die down before I jump in. So you're welcome to everyone trying to get a reservation, because I'm one less person. Don't come at me.
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I'm with you. Like, I looked at the food and I was like, because it's going to happen. It's going to open on August 29th. We'll be there for the D23 Mickey's Not So Scary. And so, yeah, but they're kind of like, I think we've talked about this before. They're roping in Mickey's Not So Scary, but it really has nothing to do with it. They're almost like, hey, you guys are going to be here anyway because you're going to be here Saturday, right? Can you guys go ahead and buy a ticket for the night before so we can sell out that party on the 29th? That would be awesome. Thank you. Please give us your money. And I said, you know what? I got you, Disney. Let's go ahead and make that happen. And so we're going to go to that. But it opens on that night, the 29th. And I was like, oh, that would be really cool to do. And I looked at the menu and I was like, I'd like to walk in and take a look around and then leave, I think. So maybe it'll be amazing, but also I'd like to have that mug. So, who knows? $50, by the way. That's the mug and the drink that's in it.
Gotta be ceramic. Gotta be.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, that wraps up this section of our old business. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that to a close. And the new business that we're talking about tonight is it's kind of funny because it's the Destination D23 and our predictions. And here's why I say it's a little bit funny, as Elton John would say, is that this past week the internet got super mad, as they never do. The internet is the nicest, sweetest, most loving place. And when they put out the schedule for Destination D23 and the panels, the first thing that happened was everybody was like, "Whoa, there's no parks panel. What the actual heck is happening here? There's no parks panel." And so when they released that, everybody's like, "Well, I'm glad I didn't buy a ticket." And I'm like, "You couldn't have gotten one anyway. Sorry." I mean, and also that's not the only thing people do. When they're going to these Destination D23, it's not just the parks panel. That's a small part of the whole thing. Now, we as parks fans definitely want to see that. We want to see the announcements and those things. And so there's actually some people who have gone through. Scott Gustin is one who've gone through and said, "Wait a minute. Let me do a little bit of detective work here and go through these panels." There's one called Disney Villains, Icons of Evil. What better place to talk about maybe in more in-depth plans for your Villains Land than a whole panel about villains? Or there's like little vignettes about different countries. Maybe they're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about our guesses anyway, even though there's not a dedicated parks panel. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of clear up a little bit about D23, because I think it's confusing. Honestly, is like, what is D23? And so I walked back through this because remember, like in 2001, they did 100 years of magic at the parks. They celebrated 100 years of magic. And then in 2023, we celebrated 100 years of wonder.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder what that first 100 years was about? The first one was to celebrate Walt's birthday. And so they called that 100 Years of Magic. That was in 2001. He was born in 1901, so he would have been 100 then. And they decided to celebrate 100 Years of Magic, even though it hadn't been the Disney company for 100 years. So we were even celebrating Walt's diaper years and, his paper route and all that kind of stuff. Then the 100 Years of Wonder was the 100 years of the Disney company that started in 1923. So 1923 is why it's called D23. And again, a lot of our people who are watching know this. But I did want to put that out there for anybody who was like, I never really wanted to ask why it was D23. I never wanted to Google it because then that'd be in my search history forever that I didn't know. So in 2009, Disney started a club called D23. And honestly, I was thinking about this with my wife today. I was like, is that their Patreon? She's like, what do you get with D23? And I was like, well, you get member exclusive stuff and you get, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's kind of what that is. And so and ours is patreon.com/GoPack if you need to know that. So in 2009, in March of 2009, they announced the D23 Club. They also announced D23 Expo. So I think a lot of people were like, D23 is the Expo. I don't know what else that could be. And at the time, you had to pay to be a member of D23. Since then, they've evolved the memberships every year. It gets different. There was like a double membership and there was like a single. And I got my Disney D23 gift this year and I haven't opened it yet because I don't even know what's in it because I don't remember what I chose. And it's a thing. So they did that in March of 2009. The very first D23 Expo was in September of 2009. It was a 4-day expo, and it was in California in Anaheim at the convention center. And each day was kind of themed around something different. One was TV, one was movies, one was parks, and one was animation. I think that's how they broke them out. So there was a 4-day party at the Anaheim Convention Center, and it was, again, 2009. That time, they were going to do one of these every year. And then they were like, oof, that was a lot of work. Are we sure we want to do that? So then they invented this thing that was Destination D, which would happen in Anaheim the next year. Very small in comparison. The original, the actual expo it's got the Disney Legends Awards. They have the big, huge panels. They talk about, first look projects. They have a lot of celebrity appearances. They do separate breakout panels and presentations, and everybody comes in costume, and it's a full-blown convention. And when I was talking to my wife about, she's very careful to say Destination D23 instead of D23 Expo because she's like, I know that you get weird about that. And I was like, because they're different. They're different things. The one in Florida evolved after they were like, in 2010 it was in Anaheim, in 2011 it was in Florida, and they were going to be like, oh, we'll just switch it every year. And then they were like, no, let's just do it in Florida. And so by 2013 it was just the year we don't do an expo, we're going to do that. Then 2020 happened and they did it virtually, and then the days so it used to be on the odd years and now it's on the even years. This is coming up Labor Day weekend, Destination D23. So sorry if that was a lot, but I feel like it needed to be said. I mean, I don't know. What, Stephanie, you were nodding your head a lot. Do you think it's been a little complicated, the whole D23 thing, or am I
100%,
crazy?
100%. And then, like you said, the memberships always change. I'm like, do I have a gold one? Do I have a family one? And what does that get me? Are there discounts in the parks? What, because they used to have, if you're a D23 member, there used to be some sort of a discount, and now they don't do that either. So I don't know. It's always a little bit different. I've never been to a D23 Expo. That's on my Disney bucket list to do. I know you go, Rob, but I've never been, and I've never been to a destination either. I'm going to be there. I'm still not going. I'm going to go ride the rides while all you people are watching all the panels, so that's fine.
It is kind of weird to think about that, isn't it? You go to Walt Disney World, you pay for a Disney hotel, and you sit in a Disney conference room just a mile from a fun attraction, right? Used to be held at the Contemporary. Now this year is the very first time it's going to be at Coronado Springs. It's the largest convention center that they have on property. I don't know why it hasn't been here before. The tickets go like that. I know that we've had some of our pack was, the day of tickets, we were all at the ready to refresh to try to get in and get our tickets with this horrible system. And so I was able to get tickets. I know a couple other people were, but some of our pack were not able to get tickets. Now, they do some streaming of some of the content, but not all of the content. So, you could check out the website to find what things in particular they're going to do. So that's what Destination D23 is. From a parks standpoint, they didn't announce an actual parks panel. And when they've done them in the past, it's been pretty small. Last year was actually kind of cool because they... I say last year, 2 years ago, the last time they did this, they had the parks panel they talked about some things that we didn't know were happening. I think that's when they announced the Test Track 3.0 was coming. They brought out Figment. That was the first time anybody, I think, had really seen Figment in public. And then they had a party that night where you could get to meet Figment for the first time and get your picture taken. And then you could also go through Moana Journey of Water before it was open to day guests. So there was a lot of little perks and features around that. But when they announced the Animation Courtyard announcement, 3 weeks ago, I was like, wait, shouldn't they have waited for Destination D23 for that? I mean, there's an announcement coming. And then I thought, I feel like, and Shannon, you tell me if I'm wrong on this, I feel like there's some people who are probably still a little salty because at Destination D20 or at D23 Expo, see, I'm doing it now, or what is now called D23, the Ultimate Fan Event, because that just rolls off the tongue. Last year, they announced a whole bunch of cool things that were coming to Walt Disney World. The next couple of weeks, they said what we were losing to get that. And I know you don't really care in general about the things that are losing, but...
Oh!
That is
but
just rude.
You care about that, though, don't you?
It's rude!
Yeah. That's the whistle. That's the whistle of the now defunct boat. So anyway, do you think that they didn't do an actual full-blown parks panel because that this concentrated group, it's much smaller, of Disney fans are the rabid Disney World fans that are going to be angry, or am I just making that up?
I just think because they changed their schedule doesn't mean that they're not still going to have park announcements. Like maybe they are going to be sprinkling it in throughout the several days. I don't know, because I feel like when they've done these parks panels and have announced like these 5 things at a time, sometimes I just feel like sometimes it doesn't go over well, right? So maybe for the villains panel, for example, we're going to get more detail. Like we've come a long way from 2 or 3 years ago, and they're like, blue sky, we could do all these things, and people are like, what does that even mean? And last year, they came out with all these things, and then people got salty afterwards. So I wonder if this year they're going to just spend more time on the announcements in the various panels. Who knows?
I thought you knew.
Not me.
Here's a look at the schedule, and if it doesn't burn your eyes from all that yellow, then you're doing it wrong. It says they have a Walt Disney Studios showcase, which they wouldn't have done 2 years ago because there was a writer's strike and an actor strike going on. So they couldn't get anybody other than Broadway's Aladdin to come hang out and Jodie Benson. That was pretty much all they could do as far as star power goes. There's a welcome back with Michael Vargo. And my wife's like, welcome back from what? I was like, welcome back to Destination D23. The 3 Caballeros, they're breaking this up. And some of these things, if you look, they're 5 to 10 minutes. And so those things are probably going to be video presentations in between time, like this Disney Around the Globe India, Be Our Guest on Broadway is a little bit longer. So I'm looking forward to the Walt Disney Studios Showcase and all that. But and then there's the What's Cooking with Disney Eats. That certainly could be an opportunity for them to talk about, the Monstropolis restaurants that are coming. The Disney Villains Icons of Evil the next day. This is Sunday morning. That's a 45-minute panel. It feels like you can't just talk about the villains for 45 minutes, right? So I feel like maybe that's a time where they could talk about the land and stuff like that. So what I asked our panel here to do is to come up with, for me, what do you think they're going to talk about? What do you think they should talk about? And then finally, what's your dream scenario? So I wrote down a couple things just to throw out there. The things that they could talk about. In the past they've said, okay, we're now giving this a name, or we're now giving this a release date or a release window. So you've got Zootopia, because we know that's coming in the fall. Maybe they tell us a date about that. The Grogu Mando overlay, maybe they could show some of that. The Muppets Rock and Roller Coaster, maybe a hard date on that. Opening a Big Thunder, opening a Buzz Lightyear, the spaceship Earth. What are they planning on doing there? The Beak and Barrel, will anybody ever get a reservation? More stuff about the animation courtyard. Monstropolis, the Cars Land, which I feel weird calling it a land because it's a section of Frontierland and it's not a land, but it is a land. Of course, the Villains Land and the Tropical Americas, all things that they could talk about. Stephanie, what do you think they're going to do that they're actually going to bring to the table for this one?
Okay, I definitely think that they're talking about villains because they have to. You've got Epic right down the street, you know, with their dark universe, and everyone loves a good Disney villain. I would love it if they would announce some more details of the land, and not necessarily, you know, because Disney does everything on time or whatever, right? Like they don't really, it might be years out, but I don't know that they'll tell us when exactly that's coming. But if they would say, okay, there is going to be a character meal or a Haunted Mansion themed dining experience or something to that effect, you know, to just give us more details of that. But I really would like them to, I think I have a theory. So they're talking about the animation courtyard and announcing that earlier. I don't know that they were, I think they're kind of saving some of this to, they're kind of giving you a piece of it because they're wanting to give you more during this, you know, expo, whatever, destination D23. I think because they said that they're going to change the Disney Junior Live dance party thing, they're going to add Bluey. That's my theory. And I think, I know, because they've talked about Bluey coming to the parks.
Ooh.
I do think that that's going to be a thing because, again, that's going to draw more people into that area. I mean, they're doing the animation stuff again to where you can see the Animation Academy and everything where it needs to be over there. So I think that that's one of my theories for that area. But if you want to say something that they should be doing, or that are we telling our
go ahead and do that,
now?
but hold off on your dream one. You could tell, what should they be saying?
Okay. They should be saying that they're going to bring Muppets back in its like original form. They should be saying it's coming back next to Imagination at EPCOT. I'm still saying it should go into the Magic Eye Theater over there. That's what they should say.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not okay. That feels more like a dream one than a thing that you think they should be talking about. Like, but okay. No, you know what? I wasn't clear on anything in particular. So you dream your dream. Shannon, same question to you. What do you think they're going to do?
I think Stephanie and I are telepathic with each other because we have the same exact things. So obviously villains, but I specifically wrote down immersive dining experience because if Disney was smart, they would understand, like, how can we suck more blood out of these people after they've paid for their tickets and their resorts? And like, we are all suckers for these restaurants and for these bars and lounges. And you see it with GO82, you see it with Barrel and Beak, or Beak and Barrel, whatever it is. I'll get there one day. And if they made some really immersive villains dining experience, I just think that could blow the roof off the place. And maybe I'm, you know, overly optimistic, but I'm hoping for some kind of announcement like that will definitely happen. And then in terms of should happen, I said, what is going to happen to the Muppets 3D preservation? Whether that be...
See? It's not just me.
We all want it. The people need it. I heard it the other day, and it really sunk in that it's not something that I'm going to be able to experience again with myself or with my family, and that makes it really sad. So I want to know what's happening with it. Disney Plus, is it coming back to Disney World in some form? Give us something.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. BioReconstruct. Everybody loves BioReconstruct, right? BioReconstruct, who offers photos of the resorts from above, has been very busy this week showing us like the things that are happening. Like, you know how Josh loves to talk about like I say loves. I think he said it once. There are shovels in the dirt. There's like dirt's being moved, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
this weekend or this past week, things got a little busier over by the future site of the Encanto ride. They're really getting that area ready, and so I wonder, if things like that and the, we'll talk about Disneyland in a second, but the Avengers going vertical, and then there's also been more work done at the future site. I almost feel like we can't even call it Muppet Graveyard anymore. We have to call it the future site of Monstropolis. Even more work has been done in that area after trashing that Studio One and starting the construction in the parking lot for the Monsters door coaster. So I feel like they want to talk more about these things and want to be able to say, hey, there's stuff happening, and you saw that stuff was happening. Things are moving along, and it's exciting, and we can't wait to show you more or tell you more or give you a timeline or any of those kind of things. So anyway, me personally, I think you're right, Stephanie. I think they're going to talk about villains, because they've got 45 minutes to do it. And also, I feel like if they don't at this point, the entire internet thinks they're going to. So I think at that point you really need to do that. And I would hope that they would also at some point find a way or a time or a place to give an opening day for Zootopia to this crowd, because I think that that's something we'd like to see, something open back up at Animal Kingdom, because the week after or just after this thing closes out is when they close the Boneyard it's like days after.
Doesn't Zootopia 2 come out in November or sometime around Thanksgiving, right? So probably I would anticipate that would open simultaneously, like it would open around the same time. That's what it should do.
Yeah. I'm looking in the chat, and earlier when I was showing that schedule, there's something on there about India, and Desi is in chat and was like, wait a minute, what's happening in India? I mean, what would be great? There was a rumor 100 years ago about them making a Jungle Book attraction on a new India EPCOT pavilion. I don't think they're going to announce anything new. I don't think they're going to announce anything outside of what they've already talked about. I think it's just going to be updates to the things that are already in progress. Tell us how they're going, when they're, what the dates are, maybe give it a name. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of the meat of that. But these like Disney around the world things, what I thought of immediately after that, Shannon, was that this is a great place to talk about, if it still exists, Adventures by Disney. Because I know you love some Adventures by Disney.
I do.
Yes. So after she finishes wrapping up her Happiest Stays series, she's going to start with the Disney Adventures, Happiest Adventures series. I can't afford that. Yeah, no, you have to. You have to. The people want it. They need it. Okay, so that's like what we think basically is going to happen. I didn't mention some things from other parks around the world, like Abu Dhabi, the ships, the stuff in France with World of Disney and the Lion King Land and Disney Adventure World. In Shanghai, that Spider-Man coaster. In Hong Kong, the Spider-Man Tower of Terror thing that they teased at Expo. All of that stuff. And then out in California, there's the Avengers Campus updates. So maybe there's a Disneyland section, which I assume they'll be talking about Disneyland history, but they could talk about the future of Disneyland and how those attractions are coming along. There's that new Coco ride, the Avatar Land, and that new entrance plaza. So any of that could be on the table if they choose during that Disneyland thing to talk about that. I think of all those, what makes the most sense is the Avengers Campus thing, because again, they just went vertical with some of that. So I think that's probably an option, and the villains are probably an option. So let's go back and talk about what you think they could do, like what you want them to do, not what they should do, but what you want them to do. Because I can't wait for this one, because this is pretty much just making stuff up, like your dream come true. Like what would that be? And it started with Stephanie before. We'll start with Shannon on this one, so that if Stephanie copied off your paper, you get to have first rights here.
Points.
Appreciate it. Well, I thought about the obvious first choice, but then it felt like beating the dead horse, and that was the Fifth Gate. And yes, I am a hopeless Disney romantic, and I do believe that one day we will get that announcement of a fifth gate. But I want to bring it down to earth. I don't even know if this is bringing it down to earth, but what I would love for them to announce a non-DVC resort, a brand new non-DVC. When was the last time?
Oh man,
It's been over 20 years. And so, like, I want to go back to Eisner era. Let's build Crescent Lake Yacht and Beach and board, like something just spectacular and to the nines, just thematic perfection. That I feel like is more unrealistic than a 58.
Whatever you're smoking, you got to share. No, I'm just kidding. That was the assignment, right? But like, find the thing. But it does feel like that's a thing that we've lost along the way, is the idea that they're going to build a hotel that they actually have to pay for. That's really the part that sounds like a problem. All right, ooh, I can't wait for this one, because junior Imagineer in training. Stephanie, what do you got?
Oh, I'm no Imagineer. I wish. Mover shirt, and I know that there's so many people that want People Mover to ban. So go ahead and put that on the list. But if I'm doing okay, this is obviously close and near and dear to my heart. You know what I'm going to say, Rob. It's got to be the Mary Poppins Cherry Tree Lane at EPCOT, because you've got Animal Kingdom. They've got a lot of things going on there. Yeah, exactly. They've got, stuff going on at Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom. Poor EPCOT has been Walcott for so long. And yes, they've got Moana Journey of Water, which it's nice. It's fine. But I think they really need a dark ride. They need a dark ride that isn't imagination crazy Figment ride now for kids, because that's basically that in Nemo, and they're just stuck to they've got Frozen at the back and the Three Caballeros and everything. So the Grand Fiesta Tour. But I do think that a Mary Poppins ride over on that side of the park and the World Showcase would be excellent. It would be great for kids and adults alike. And please make it the original idea that it's like you get on the carousel horse, almost like the ET ride over at Universal, and you start coming off of the carousel, and then you go through all the scenes of the original Mary Poppins movie.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Yeah, I honestly, I agree with you. I think that would be great. And when you say original, like the thing we saw the blueprints of, or the secret designs of, was that spinner ride, which again, if you walk into the Banks house and then you go into this and you do the spinner, you're like, nope, can't be that. A dark ride would be amazing. And as a matter of fact, I know at least one or two animatronics that they should have access to somewhere that they could put in there, and it be like a salute to a former attraction. So that would be kind of cool to do. Yeah, so I made some notes here. I think that the two easy ones that I think most people dream of is some kind of a Figment upgrade, which you mentioned, because that one is one that has been the worst version of itself through my kid's entire life, pretty much. And so I would love it to be going back to the original. It's not going to happen, but at least something that makes it awesome again, instead of just a thing you do because you always do it, and you ride the ride and then you go to the Figment gift shop and you buy a ton of Figment merchandise even though the ride is mid. So that's one. And then the other one is the same thing you just said. You said Disneyland and the People Mover. I mean, that Tomorrowland upgrade is every time, I feel like for the past 10 years, every time that there has been an expo or a destination D23, people have been like, this is the time. They're going to do it. They're going to talk about the Tomorrowland redo. But in addition, so those are the two, I think. But in addition to that, you've got that space next to that used to be Stitch's Great Escape. That was the Alien Encounter before that. That was Mission to Mars before that. That you need an attraction in there. Tomorrowland could absolutely use another attraction, and you've got space. It exists. Put together a better version of Stitch and put it in there, because Stitch is big again. $1 billion. Stitch I feel like he's earned, at $1 billion at the box office, the right to go back into that building and not just be a meet and greet or a treat trail. That's one thing.
Yes.
The other thing is that Wonders of Life Pavilion, when it was going to be the Play Pavilion, and they repainted the dome 8 times and redid the gold and all that, and then they've fenced up around it. You've got an existing structure that, to my knowledge, is still a good structure. Why not put something in there? I don't even care if it's like a museum. Just put something in there that will allow people to go do something else over in that area of Epcot. And then the last thing is they have a bunch of expansion pads still in Epcot World Showcase where they could put more countries. Don't think it's going to happen, but that Cherry Tree Lane was supposed to take up a pad of space. And then you also, like I said before, that the India thing. So that was another thing. So honestly, I love the idea of them going backwards and fixing a thing that they broke in the past, whether it's Figment, whether it's the Wonders of Life, whether it's Tomorrowland People Mover, and or whether it's Stitch. Something that they've broken that they could go back and fix would be a huge win for the fans and a people eater for the parks, and bring more capacity to those parks. Because I see Rob Bazemore is in chat, and someday he and I are going to have a battle royale about park reservations. We are going to have that conversation. But again, there should be more capacity in that vein. So to wrap up here, I will they have some park announcements? I feel like when you're on Walt Disney World property, this is not the Anaheim Convention Center. This was on Walt Disney World property in front of Disney fans like this, in a program that is called A Journey Around the Worlds of Disney. What? How could you not? How could you not talk about, the parks and experiences? I mean, it seems like something you should do. God help them if they talk about 5 more ships the entire time, though, because I'm like, we're good on ships for now. We're okay on ships right now. Like you've got me. You've got my business. I do want to do one of the ships. I can't keep up though, because I was ready to go on the Wish, and they're like, well, what about the Treasure? And I'm like, the Treasure looks great. And they're like, we got the Destiny. Okay. Yeah. Like I'm going to get to it as soon as I can do more in the park. So I hope that they don't talk more about ships at this point. I hope that they talk more about that stuff, but I'll be there. We'll be talking about it. So, in 2 weeks, we're all going to know. And then the week after that, we'll talk about how far off we were on some of these predictions. But I want to say thank you to everybody for being with us on your Sunday night. We hope that you have found us here at our new home on the Park Adventurers Club. We had an old thing we used to do that is in the past, and this is where we are now on our new adventure. And we hope that you guys will come and hang out with us every Sunday night. We'll be back here next Sunday night for another special edition of what we call a meeting of the Park Adventurers Club. I want to give a shout out to our Patreons. Thank you all for being PAC members. If you want to find out more, you can go to patreon.com/GoPack, and that's PAC. Thanks to our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. You know who you are, but we appreciate you guys so much. We've had a lot of content on this channel. It's parkadventuresclub.com if you ever get lost. And on the last Friday, we premiered a conversation I had with a gentleman, Alex from TSOH Investments, and talking to an investment person about the third quarter investors call that Disney did, and letting him kind of explain some of the things, give his thoughts, call BS on some things, talking very small words to me about some of those things. So if you haven't watched it yet, go back and check that out on the channel. And then also this Wednesday night, we're going to be doing the review of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes, that one. Only because Ron said he would do it, and that was the movie he wanted to do. So he says he's read the Douglas Adams book like 13 times. I'm excited to hear what he has to say. He will be the expert on that one. Go back and watch some of our other shows, Castaways with Stephanie and Happiest Stays with Shannon, and you can watch the review that Stephanie and I did of the Tinkerbell movie, where she made fun of me for being a grown man sitting on his couch watching a children's movie and then talking about it for an hour. But that said, this is like, I need to get final thoughts from our all of those who are here for our quorum. Can we call it a quorum? It's my rules. We're going to do it. Rob's Rules of Order. Don't forget. There it is. I made that myself. So let's start with you and get final thoughts from you, Shannon. You feel good about your predictions? You feel good about them talking about anything? Any last words before we head into Destination D23?
No, Hey, maybe one more idea. Let's throw another Epcot festival in the mix.
It's the Epcot Summer Festival. That's
I'm
all
just
you
really
got?
excited for food and wine. I was missing it. So I'm like, you know what? They could fill that gap.
Okay. All right. Stephanie?
I don't put it past Disney to disappoint. I hate to say
No.
that, but it's true.
No.
I mean, we want all these announcements, but you're right, Rob. I mean, some of these segments are only 20 minutes a piece, 15 minutes a piece, and you're going to listen to the guest speaker talk, and you're going to say, where was that announcement that I thought was coming about the park? So I'm going to watch with bated breath.
Well, that sounds like you need a mint. But I will say one last thing. I'm looking at this panel that says the Disney Family Legacy with Roy P. Disney from 10:20 to 10:45. If they do Q&A, which I don't know if they do that here, but if they do Q&A, guaranteed somebody steps up and asks what he thinks about his uncle being his great uncle being an animatronic. You know that's going to be a question that's going to come up if they get the opportunity to ask it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you want to hang out with us more on our Discord, hit us up at patreon.com/GoPack. Hang out with us every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for our Park Adventures Club. And don't forget, Adventure is out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you on the panel for weighing in, and we will see you guys next time.